Okay, in this video, I am going to demonstrate how to create a mean composite variable in jamovi. So oftentimes in a data set, you will have multiple items that are attempting to measure a single construct. So rather than using each of those individual items, you will want to create a composite variable that captures all of those items. So you can use one variable for that construct. So in this data set, we have three items measuring self-esteem, 1, 2, and 3. So let's take a look at these items really quickly. So the first item, the participants responded to, I have a lot of good qualities. The response scale for all of these items range from 1 to 5. So higher numbers here would indicate more self-esteem. Let's look at the second item. So this one is sometimes I feel worthless. Higher response numbers here would indicate less self-esteem, so keep that in mind. And then the third item is overall I feel good about myself. So higher numbers here would indicate more self-esteem. So each of these items are supposedly measuring self-esteem, but the second item is different from the other two in that higher numbers indicate less self-esteem. So this is a perfect example of when you would want to reverse score an item. So that's what I've already done here is I have a reverse scored variable that reverse scores the second item. So I have a different video that describes how to reverse score items. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. But given that this response scale, or the response scales for all of these items range from 1 to 5, I've gone with the technique where I do the highest response option, so in this case 5 plus 1, so that would be 6, and then you minus the variable. So again, I have a different video where I explain how to do this, but this is the technique you would use to reverse score the second item. Okay, and just to double check that this is correct, again, the highest response was a 5, so now it's a 1. The lowest response is a 1, and now it's a 5, so we know that this is correct. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is create a mean composite with the original item 1 and 3 and the reverse scored item 2. And what this means is that all of the variables will be essentially going in the same direction, where higher numbers indicate more self-esteem. So to create this mean composite, we're going to double click the new column and go to new computed variable. So here I would just give this a name, something relatively descriptive. So self-esteem mean composite. Mean composite variable for self-esteem. Okay. So here, what we're going to do is rely on the mean function. So not the v mean, but just the mean function. So it returns the mean of a set of numbers. So instead of numbers, we're going to include variables here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just type in capital mean, and then we're going to type in, let me see if I can just double click. Yeah, you could just double click these actually. So self-esteem 1. I'm going to use the reverse scored 2, okay, and then comma, and then the third one. What you don't want to do is include the original item 2. You only want to use the reverse scored item 2. So here, all of these variables that we're including, higher numbers indicate more self-esteem. So they're essentially going in the same direction. So if you click away, now this creates the mean composite for you. Here it is. So let me just drag this so you can see. So this is our new variable. So it essentially just calculates the mean for the three items that we gave it. So for this first person, it would be 4, 5, and 3. So the average of that, you can probably do this in your head, is 4. So for this person, they had a 5, a 5, and a 5, so their mean is 5. So now this variable is a single variable capturing the construct self-esteem. So this is how you create a mean composite variable in jamovi with a little bit of review on reverse scoring.